Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10! Hey everybody, I'm Cortez, and I'm a critic, and welcome back. We're continuing our NFL 2026 draft recap. We are currently in the AFC South, and now we're going to Jacksonville Jaguars, a team that won the division, had a great record, probably could have gone further than they had to. Or than they could have been. And they did it without their number one acquisition, Travis Hunter, who was injured for most of the year, and still went 13-4. So it makes you wonder, how much would he be valuable for? And this time last year, we did not know they were going to trade to get him. And now they got him, and now they're thinking, what do we do with him? And now they're basically strong-arming for him to play corner and be offensively on the side. And I kept thinking that's what we should have done from day one, but I don't know. They have 10 picks. It amazes me for a team that gave up their first round pick last year to get a player that got hurt early and miss a good portion of the season and still was as successful as it was. Have 10 picks. Usually you see a team with 10 picks, a team that was below 500 and sometime even starting at number 5 overall in picks. But they got 10. This is the playoff bound team. This is the 13-win team with 10 new players. Let's try not to make this video too long. So let's get started. Since they gave us the first round pick, we obviously know they go to the second round. And in the second round, with the 56th overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars selected Nate Boerkircher, tight end, Texas A&M. I am mispronouncing names. Nate. So, when it comes to the Jacksonville Jaguars' offensive arsenal, you could make the argument that tight end was probably the weaker, but I didn't think Brenton Strange was bad, but, you know, Jacoby Myers was a great acquisition. Parker Washington stepped up, and Brian Thomas disappeared. So, yeah. And, of course, we all know that, you know, Etienne is gone. So, but I said last year, Tutton, the running back from Virginia Tech, was going to be good, and now he's ready to be the day one starter. So, therefore, I feel vindicated. And I think he was the player I was most excited last year. When I did this recap, I'm going to double check. I got to double check that later. Maybe I'm oblivious. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I was high. But anyway, the Jacksonville Jaguars tight end department was their weakest thing. I mean, on their draft board of needs, tight end wasn't one of them. Wasn't even their top 5. Apparently, according to this need page of the Jaguars, it was defense across the board. Tackles, edge, linebacker, corners, everything. And then with their first pick after trading away last year, they go with a tight end, and it's not even a day one tight end. Now, Nate is not a slouch. I just felt like this is a Duval pick. Duval probably wanted a more athletic tight end to help out with the offense. Sure. I guess I can see that. But I don't know. This feels a little bit like Duval is probably stretching a little too far of his authority. You know, Liam Cohen's feeling a little bit like Duval. I am Duval. So this pick starts us off with a question mark on. We really do not need that, but you got 10 picks, so I guess you can spoil yourself here and there. But tight end first for the Jags? Not really loving the start of the confidence in it. Then we go to the third round. With the 81st overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars selected Albert Regis, defensive tackle, Texas A&M. So I guess we're just going back to A&M to get more players. Now, this one I feel better, but makes you wonder what was not available for the Jaguars at 56. Defensive tackle for the Jaguars. I mean, what was the... I felt like the Jaguars' defense was better, but I cannot for the life of me think of anything that made me feel that I can say that with confidence. I feel like the Jaguars strictly an offensive powerhouse offense. Devin Lloyd, who's no longer with the Jaguars, had that pick six against the Chiefs, and that's been like the biggest highlight of the Jaguars defense when you think about it out loud. Since I'm not a Jaguars fan, maybe the Jaguar fans have a list of top 20 great plays of the defense. I, for the life of me, cannot think of any. So looking at their defense, what they're running a 4-3. I mean, everything seems good, and they currently have Regis as the backup right defensive tackle for Devon Hamilton. So rotation, depth, players, something crucial there. My guess is for a 4-3 for a defensive tackle, you're trying to stop the run in between the tackles. I guess that you're trying to do that. So sure, acquisition is great. You address the defensive tackle need that you did. And, I mean, you still got Armstead, you still got Walker, you still got Hines Allen, so it's not like you're in desperate need of anything like that. And if you look closely at their defensive side, there's some solid players, especially in the front seven department. So I don't know what's the big need. My guess is for depth purposes, because some of the players are having their aging. So we go to, still in the third round, 7 picks later actually. With the 88th overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars selected Emmanuel Pergon, offensive guard, Oregon. You all know how I feel about interior offensive linemen is meant to stay to open gaps in the rushing attack. And of course, to protection, but I keep thinking to run the ball more. And with the Jaguars rushing attack as it is, sure. Interior offensive linemen is always a good viable to have. And looking at where they're going to currently put Emmanuel, they have him behind Izrar Cleveland, left guard. So, yeah, there you go. Depth, rotation, scheme. Nothing here really screams starter, which is kind of weird because, like I said, this is a 13-win team, and they got 10 picks, and it seems like everyone they're going to get is starters backup material at best. So, in a weird way, they're making investments for the future, but people want the future to be now. Next year, not slump. So we'll see. Then, still in the third round, with the 100th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars selected Jalen Husky, safety, Maryland. And where they have Husky? They have him as a backup to Antonio Johnson at free safety. So we're just investing in the future, seems like it. Now, according to this, ESPN.com have him labeled as a corner, but in the depth chart, they have him as a safety. So I'm going to be the dick and say he's a DB. Defensive back. Where? Anywhere. Defensive back. 6'1", 196. Grade overall in position rank, not that great. And even ESPN.com is saying this is a surprise. Then again, they said that about Nate, the tight end they got and their first pick. So far the Jaguars are just saying, F the norm, we're just getting players wherever. We're just getting player wherever. F the norm. We don't care. We're just getting them anywhere. All right, sure. No problem, it's not the first time a team has done that. But that they were called the New England Patriots and you're the Jacksonville Jaguars. Please understand that one team has more respect from us than you. Then we go to the fourth round with the 119th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft. The Jacksonville Jaguars selected Wesley Williams, edge, Duke. You got Walker, you got Hines Allen. We believe those two will be, more than likely your future for a little while longer. And Wesley Williams is currently as your backup to Hines Allen, pardon me. My guess is rotation, development, and depth for the future. I mean, Hines Allen has been the Jaguar for the longest. He has not really shown any indication of slouching. There's also that fear that he might be as valuable as the trade for depth, but they got 10 picks here, so I doubt they're going to do that. But at the end of the day, this is another rotation potentially or depth. This is just player to develop for the future, and the future is not necessarily next year. It's probably 2027, 2028. So I guess they're kind of like planting the seeds of development now, and we'll see what the play they have this year. Some could make contributing factors this year, obviously, of course, but it just feels that the Jaguars are preparing for the next level, the backups, the rotations. You know, they're not really in a desperate need of a now, so yeah. Another head scratcher. In the fifth round, with the 164th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars selected Tanner Colziel, tight end, Houston. So we're going to get another tight end. And what's funny is that Tanner, let me double check this. Tanner intangibles seems better. Nate is 6'4", 245, while Tanner is 6'6", 247, so 2 inches taller, and we all know 2 inches is a lot. So, my thought is, why? I always find it weird that there are some positions that teams will get two of. 2 tight ends, 2 guards, 2 tackles, 2 running backs, 2 quarterbacks. And sometimes you'd be like, it's okay. But sometimes you wonder if you get 2 of a position in the same draft class, regardless of where they were drafted, it makes me feel so the tight ends or the position you have usually probably have 3 or more. Those guys, I guess, didn't do it for you. Or I guess you're not confident with them because you're doubling down on a position. So if you have 5 wide receivers and you drafted 2 wide receivers, it just feels like you're not really confident with the 5 receivers, or at least at worst case 3 of them you're not very confident with, so you kind of want to make level competition, I guess, to hopefully bring out something in them. And like I said, the tight end department didn't feel that. I mean, the Nate pickup was a stretch according to Mel Kiper and ESPN. And then you got Tanner, which just makes you feel like, okay, what is it now? As a tight end myself, I cannot disagree with tight ends being loved. Respect the tight ends, respect us all. But it just feels like you got 10 picks and you use it on 2 tight ends. Your tight end department's fine. I don't know. This one feels like you probably saw the intangibles and thinking potential packages. And is it worth using a draft pick on a player that might be utilized in packages? I don't know. Liam Cohen is the offensive-minded head coach. He proved his worth in Tampa and in Jacksonville, so I guess we can give him a little bit of leeway of his identity, but always feels weird when a team drafts 2 of the same position, because it makes you feel like the players you already have on a roster don't have much space to hope. Speaking of doubling down players, in the 6th round, with the 191st pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars selected Josh Cameron, wide receiver, Baylor. What are we doing, Jacksonville? What are we doing? What are we doing? The Jacksonville wide receiver core is Thomas, Myers, Washington. And then, of course, you sprinkle in Travis Hunter here and there. So, confidently, I will say your starting 4 receivers are good. But they also dropped another receiver right after this one. Josh Cameron is currently viewed as the backup with Hunter, a wide receiver who is coming in at 6'1", 220 from Baylor. He's not an overly polished wide. He's not an overly polished runner, but he can create size advantage. He still needs to improve on playing through contact, secure and consistent catch. It's a lot of hopes and needs to. He's not. He's 24th ranked in this position by wide receiver. I'm not feeling confident with this one. I'm not feeling confident. I think Liam Cohen is just going back to the buffet and keep getting the same thing over and over again. Because that was 191. Still in the 6th round with the 203rd pick of the 2026 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars selected C.J. Williams, wide receiver, Stanford, who, according to ESPN.com, has no stats. No height, no nothing. So we're going to go to the depth chart. And we're going to click on our young man here. And he is viewed as 6'1", 205 from Stanford. Another wide receiver who is currently viewed as a backup. So I don't know. I don't know what you're doing. It feels like you're overcompensating for a position that should be solid. I feel like a lot of this is Liam Cohen fluctuating his weight around. Because I really feel like you needed to address defense. And you spend, half your picks on offensive players. Yeah, C.J. Williams, wide receiver, Stanford, multiple traits to get him. I don't know, man. Jackson, I don't know what you're doing here. Brian Thomas was a first-round pick. You guys did. Travis Hunter was a first-round pick you gave up for. Parker Washington was a great acquisition. Jacoby Meyer was a mid-season trade that showed up. I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on here, Jacksonville. I don't know. The needs, according to ESPN.com, was defensive tackle, edge, linebacker, corner. You got a corner. You got a linebacker later. You got a couple of edges, which makes you wonder, but you already have Walker. And there's a lot of picks for the Jaguars that doesn't make sense. And the order you picked them in. Because even the wide receivers you got, it just feels like, but you have 4 potentially solid receivers already on the roster that have already been proven to you. And you're going to get 2 rookies to compete with the other players you have, which means you have no faith in those guys. So you're willing to use 2 picks of your 10 to get new receivers to compete with the veterans that have been in the league for a few years. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And I can't help but feel like Liam Cohen is manipulating the general manager, because that's what he did when he got the job at Jacksonville, to get the people that he wants. And be damned if they don't work out. But I'm going to get the players I want, because I'll be damned if I don't. Let's move on. I am so confused with the Jacksonville Jaguars right now. In the 7th round, with a 233rd pick of the 2026 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars selected Zach Durf, edge, Washington. I don't know why you're addressing an edge when the edge department seems solidified. He is 6'5", 256, so I guess the intangibles probably drew you to him. They currently have him at 3rd string defensive end. Power pass rusher, display very good balance, flexibility to be around blocks. Does a good job affecting quarterback, but needs to develop into a stronger finisher when he penetrates into the backfield, giggity, and plays high energy in pursuit. I'm guessing the 6'5", 256 was awe-inspiring. And I can't help but feel like you're realizing that maybe Walker may not be the guy and Hines Allen's getting older. Maybe that's what you're seeing. But sure, let's dress it. But remember, you needed a linebacker. That was the focus. The linebacker was one of your major focus. And, oh look, you did address it with your last pick of the NFL Draft for you guys. In the 7th round, with the 240th pick of the 2026 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars selected Parker Hughes, linebacker, MTSU. 1, thank you for giving MTSU Blue Raiders some love. I was accepted to the University of MTSU. Good, cool. 6'1", 225, young man, downhill linebacker, level of competition becomes a factor. But you addressed one of your major needs in linebacker at the last pick, and I can't help but feel like you probably just went, ooh, we need a linebacker. That one. This whole draft class feels weird. I feel like a lot of it is question marks and hopes. You got 10. And it's kind of hard to argue a team that needs 10 picks when they were 13-4 and division winners, and were probably one of the better teams of the AFC, let alone the NFL. So it just feels that we're preparing for the future, and even though the future is there, it feels like you're getting players for the future when you already have players that are already meant for the future now. Parker Hughes, linebacker, MTSU, will make his job in the special teams. He'll make his spots on the special teams, and he's currently viewed as funny enough, the backup middle linebacker to Ventrell Miller. So there you go. Hope for you there as backup. But it's for depth purposes, and you'll make your spots on those teams. And that's the Jacksonville Jaguars. Player I'm most excited about. Funny enough, none of these players I'm really excited about. None of them. Some of them just feel like, why? 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers, 2 edges. Everything just feels like depth. And it feels like some of them may not even make the roster. Some of them might be in practice squad for whatever reason. I have no real exciting player. But I have to put an exciting player, and I can't just put the fans on this one. So I'm giving it to Parker Hughes, linebacker MTSU. Why? Because he was the last pick from MTSU. Respect the Blue Raiders. That's the only reason why. And he is a last pick, 7th round pick, 240th. And he is projected to be the backup on the Jacksonville Jaguars mock depth chart at middle linebacker behind Miller. Sure, there you go. There you go. Because if I'm confused, so are you. Grade for the Jaguars. This draft class does not make them any less contenders than they already are. So I'm putting them as contender, but this draft class does not make it solidify. I thought the Jaguars were already contenders based on last year. And that's without Travis Hunter. So in a way, I'm still thinking they should not be worse. So still a division winner, still a contender, and probably more confidently. But then again, we'll see how the second year of Duval and Liam Cohen and Trevor Lawrence, because funny enough, Baker Mayfield never got that second year with Liam Cohen. So, Lawrence, we'll see how you do. But yeah, they're contenders based on what they already have. This draft class does not make it even 1% better. It just says they're still a 93% good team. This does not make them a 94. And that's the Jacksonville Jaguars. Never been so disappointed for 10 picks. We'll conclude the AFC South by going to the team that needed probably the most help, and that is the Tennessee Titans. Hopefully their draft class makes sense, unlike the Jaguars. But until then, I'm Cortez, and I'm a critic. Thank you so very much for watching.